What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? This is Rob of Ro2R Review. Welcome back, and today we're going to be doing something I pretty much never do. Hold on to your butts, because we're going to be talking about Pokemon. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Pokemon today, and like I said, I never do this. And a lot of you guys who know me know why I don't do this, and it's because I'm not a Pokemon fan. You guys know that it's not a series for me. It doesn't speak to me. I'm not interested in it. Now, of course, for all like the diehard Pokemon fans who might stumble across this video and think, oh my god, you crazy person, how could you hate Pokemon? I don't hate Pokemon, just so everyone knows, as a quick sort of addendum to this. I don't actively dislike or hate Pokemon. I've just never played it. I've never experienced it, and it's not interesting to me. However, there is some movement and some information kind of happening around the Pokemon Switch game. I find it incredibly interesting. I love Nintendo and the Switch, of course. I'm a diehard. And so I'm still invested in what might be happening with like this leaked screenshot from Pokemon and all these rumors about how they might be changing the game and all this stuff, which I'm going to talk about. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of felt like it would be even more interesting for myself as somebody who's never experienced Pokemon to kind of discuss this and share his opinions on it. So now that we've got that part out of the way, I've already let you know I don't know Pokemon, I don't play it, not interested, don't really care about it. So my whole sort of conversation about this stuff comes from the perspective of somebody who doesn't really know Pokemon. But I do know Nintendo, and I'm familiar with a lot of the different elements of the series and the show and the games and stuff just through being a part of the community, and also from being a Nintendo fan my entire life. For 37 years, I've been a Nintendo fan. Well, you know, okay, 32 years since they were introduced when I was 5 years old, I should say. So I've been a Nintendo fan since they've been a company making video games. And so, what's going on with Pokemon and why am I wanting to talk to you guys about it today? Well, the biggest thing is the recent leaked screenshot. So that's the thing that started kind of this big conversation the last couple of days. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's this shot right here, and it's just a photo that people are claiming is from the Nintendo Switch version, some sort of still from the Nintendo Switch Pokemon game, which we know is going to be coming sometime in the future. And it's got a lot of people talking. It's got, you know, it's got a lot of people kind of nervous or upset and all these different things. So here's the thing. Here's what I want to say about this screenshot. To me, I don't really think this means anything. One, there is a massive chance. I mean, it's very likely that this is not even a real screenshot. So, to all of the people who are Nintendo fans and Pokemon fans out there who are losing their minds over this, it looks like garbage, it doesn't look exciting, it looks different than the gameplay I expected, the graphics aren't impressing me, all of these different things. Let's be real here. There is a 10% chance this is real, which means if we do the math, there is a 90% chance this is fake. Personally, even though I have no experience with the series as a gaming series, I just don't believe this screenshot. It just doesn't look like what I would expect it to be, and why would just this one little weird leaked screenshot get out? I mean, leaks certainly do happen, and every once in a while, leaks actually do turn out to be true. Obviously, Mario and Rabbids is the biggest thing. I have a conspiracy that that was all actually orchestrated by Nintendo and Ubisoft, but regardless, there were leaks for many, many months. A lot of us didn't believe it, and it turned out to be true. And the game turned out to be fantastic, by the way. But still, at the end of the day, typically leaks don't really mean anything, and it's just a bunch of gobbledygook and people trying to put fake stuff out there onto the internet to be the one who sparks a hoax and to get people excited and get people talking about whatever, and they can feel to themselves in their basement, ha ha ha, I tricked everybody with my photoshopped image. I'm so great, and I'm so great that I'm the only one that knows it. Like, who cares? Like, that's just what people like to do, and so this screenshot to me screams of being fake. Now, beyond that, if I were to just pretend for a minute that this is real, let's just pretend for the sake of argument so I can share my opinion. Is there anything to this image? What do I take away from it seeing it? It looks fine. To me, it just looks fine. It just looks like a colorful, cartoony Pokemon experience kind of game. It looks like what I would expect a Pokemon game to look like in 3D, because I know typically they're like 2D top-down games on the older Game Boy. And then with the 3DS games, I know they did become like 3D models and graphics and stuff. And so, to me, it just looks like that. It just looks fine. I mean, there's an argument to be made that graphically, you know, even though it's not a clear image, that it's not very impressive. And yeah, I'll agree with that. It doesn't look very advanced graphically. One of the other things that makes me think it's not probably real, I feel like Nintendo will make this game look fantastic within the confines of the Pokemon art style. I think they will make it look fantastic. This to me looks like, I don't know, like I've seen screenshots of like those GameCube games like the Gale of Darkness and the is it Pokemon Stadium or whatever? There was a couple like weird GameCube like spin-off games. And to me it looks like GameCube graphics or maybe even like 3DS graphics. So maybe it's, you know, a screenshot from the 3DS game, but I feel like Pokemon fans would be able to pick it out like, "Oh, that's not the Switch game, that's the 3DS game for sure." So, and since I don't really see a lot of people saying that, I would think that that's maybe not what it is. So it could be fake. It could even be not a Pokemon game, you guys. What if it's not even a Pokemon game? I mean, unless there's an element in this screenshot that people who are diehard Pokemon fans can say, "Oh yes, it's definitely trying to be a Pokemon game because of this, this, or this." That's one thing. For me, I look at it and I'm like, it could be a fake Pokemon screenshot. It could be a screenshot from not a Pokemon game. So, but anyway, I'm trying to pretend that this is real. So in a world where this is real, it just looks fine to me. It looks like what I would think a Pokemon game would be. Now let's quickly discuss the other element to a lot of the Pokemon conversation happening recently. And that's many months ago. I even discussed this on a live stream. Many months ago, there was kind of a rumor going out there that some people were hearing behind the scenes info about the development of the new Pokemon game. And that apparently what Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are trying to do with this game is kind of try to change up a lot of the typical Pokemon formula and try to introduce game-changing elements that would become sort of groundbreaking for the Pokemon series, the same way Nintendo succeeded doing that with the Zelda series with Breath of the Wild, because they did so many unique, cool, crazy things that vastly changed Zelda for Breath of the Wild, but succeeded insanely. I mean, that game obviously is like one of the greatest games ever made, maybe even the best game ever made. I mean, it's so good, and they did that while changing what people typically expect from a Zelda game. And then there's an argument that they kind of did that with Mario Odyssey. To me, I think they kind of skirted the lines with Mario Odyssey, because I think that a lot of what made Mario Odyssey is a lot of what makes most great 3D Mario platformers. The big difference, the thing that they changed, is just the mechanic. In the same way the Flood changed the Mario mechanic for Sunshine, Cappy changed the Mario mechanic for Odyssey. And so a little bit of the open world style and the way you go from kingdom to kingdom, that was pretty different for Mario. So, you know, Nintendo's been successful with their two biggest, most well-known franchises, Zelda and Mario, in this Switch era, changing up the typical formula and succeeding admirably and selling like crazy and reviewing like crazy. And so many people said either Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey is the best game of 2017. And so maybe Nintendo's thinking they need to do the same thing for Pokemon. Now, I'll tell you guys, that idea does excite me. As somebody who doesn't love Pokemon, isn't excited or interested in Pokemon, when I think about the first ever true Pokemon game for a console coming to the Nintendo Switch, which I love to death, and to hear that maybe, this is all just a theory, maybe they're trying to change up how a typical mainline Pokemon RPG plays for the sake of the next generation console version for the Switch, that makes me think, hey, maybe they'll finally make a Pokemon game that I'm excited about and interested in and will want to pick up and play and finally give Pokemon a shot. So just in theory, like on paper, the idea of them changing Pokemon this way gets me, a non-Pokemon fan, excited. It makes me curious. It's like, okay, well then, show me what you got. Let's see what you can do to Pokemon to rein in this diehard Nintendo fan who doesn't want anything to do with Pokemon. Maybe you can convince me. And I mean, Nintendo is my favorite developer for a reason. They make games that almost always succeed as far as the gameplay and presentation and all this stuff. So I would believe that if Nintendo put their all into a new Pokemon game and changed it up, I mean, they're going to make a great game. That's the pedigree of Nintendo. It's the pedigree of the Pokemon Company, and there's like 4 entities that are involved with Pokemon video games. But all these different entities that make Pokemon games, I know that they make great games. Just because I don't like the typical Pokemon portable games doesn't mean I think that they're bad. I firmly believe they make extremely high quality games. I know Pokemon Gold and Sapphire and Sun and Blue and Red and Yellow and Tennis Shoe and Rocking Chair, all these different Pokemon games, I know that each one of them are great games. I can recognize quality even when it's something I don't personally enjoy. So the pedigree is there for them to make a great game. So that rumor was happening many months ago. Now we get to this screenshot, and now people are starting to talk again. With this screenshot looking different than a lot of people would have expected, they're like, oh man, how are they changing this game? Are they going to ruin this game? A lot of Pokemon fans are worried that Nintendo might ruin this game, or the Pokemon Company, whatever company is developing this damn game. I don't even know. The Pokemon Company, maybe they're going to ruin this game by changing it too much, and they're too afraid of change. And they're like, if you traverse the world this way, and if it's not random battles, and maybe it's just, you know, you get to pick your enemies based on avatars on the map and you know, attack them the way you would in a normal RPG, that's wrong for Pokemon, and it's going to ruin the gameplay experience. Or if they even change the battle system, which would be exciting to me. I would want them to change the battle system. But diehard fans are worried if they change the battle system too much, it could ruin the game. So that conversation has come back now, partly because of this screenshot, and partly because for many months, the rumor has been that this is what Nintendo's doing. And so I just go back to, I guess I want to get this out for all you diehard Pokemon fans who have feelings on either side of the fence with a brand new changed Pokemon. Either you're a diehard fan who's willing to welcome change, or you're a diehard fan that's terrified of the change and worry it's going to ruin the series. I want you to hear from somebody who is a Nintendo fan but not a Pokemon fan, that to me, it gets me excited. And so I'm really hoping to hear from a lot of the diehards in the comment section, for example, what you feel about a changed Pokemon game that's vastly different than what you're used to, but how it might excite people who wouldn't typically play these games. I mean, even though Pokemon has cast like the widest net of gamers possible because billions of people play these games, I think they're trying to just get even newer people to try to play these games. And I would be an example of somebody who would give it a shot if it looks interesting enough, if it looks epic enough, if the gameplay looks fun enough, and if it looks different enough. It's like, hey, I'll finally give this Pokemon game a shot. So that's pretty much, I think, the most of what I wanted to say with this conversation. I have to say, it's actually kind of fun and interesting for me to talk about something like this, a game series that I'm very familiar with, but don't play, experience, or enjoy. I actually kind of like having a conversation with something a little bit more outside of my bubble, which I try to do occasionally, but typically I'm just talking about the obvious things. But you know, with this conversation and this screenshot, I have a lot to say. I have many feelings because I just am so invested in Nintendo and the Switch and curious how this game is going to turn out and how it's going to continue the success for Nintendo and continue to sell more Switches if it's good, and how the Pokemon community specifically will react to the game when we finally see it, and if it looks great or not great, or like a typical game or extremely different from a typical game. I'm really excited to learn and see what the Pokemon community fan reaction will be. Because as an outsider, it'll just give me a good inkling as to what's going on with this game and what we can expect from it. And I'm just hoping to see another Nintendo Switch game that's first party that might be great. You know, it's like, hey, I'll welcome any good video game. I'm willing to keep my mind open. Just because I don't normally like Pokemon doesn't mean I won't give it a shot when the right game comes along, and the Switch is kind of the X factor here. Like, the Switch is so great, I'm willing to play almost anything on my Switch just because it's cool to be able to do so. So those are my thoughts on this leaked screenshot that's been getting out. The fact that at the end of the day, I mostly don't believe this. I recommend a lot of you guys out there who are worried about it maybe, don't worry about it too much. It's probably fake, or it's probably just not what it seems. Maybe they're also making like a 3DS game port, or like they're remastering one of the old portable games and it's a screenshot from that and not the new actual Pokemon Switch game. So either way, those are my thoughts, man. A lot to talk about, a lot going on here. And I want to hear from you guys, especially the diehard Pokemon fans, which I know a lot of my audience are big Pokemon fans because most Nintendo fans are also Pokemon fans. I'm one of the weirdos who's not. So I want you guys to discuss your feelings, your expectations, your thoughts on the screenshot, your thoughts on the gameplay. What do you think is going to happen? That's it for me today. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.